welcome to this session of Yavapai Speaks. My name is Lyle Rapacki, your host, and I'm really excited to have Senator Sonny Borrelli, who's the majority leader of the Arizona Senate, on today. I've known Senator Borrelli a long time. I knew him when he first came into the House, and I've been very privileged to have worked with him on a number of issues. And I think today, in our quick little interview here, you're going to be delighted to learn what Senator Borrelli has done as majority leader, but also as a senator. So, Senator, thanks so much for taking time out and joining us today.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. He's over in Lake Havasu City where it's 130 degrees, something like that. Why, I don't know, but he wants to stay over there. I have a letter I'm going to read to start this program. It's from Donald Trump, President Trump, and I'm going to read it so I don't mispronounce a word or leave a word out. It's really profound. Arizona State Senator Sonny Borrelli has been on the front line of fighting against corruption elections since day one. Sonny is a proven fighter for the people of Arizona and a huge supporter of veterans and law enforcement. It is said that all politics is local, and that is especially true at the county level, where elections are run fairly or they're rigged. Sonny served our country for 22 years as a U.S. Marine and served the city and state of Arizona for almost 14 years. He will do an amazing job as a county supervisor. I wholeheartedly endorse Sonny Borrelli to be the next county supervisor for District 3 of the Mohave County Board of Supervisors. I wanted to read that to you. Congratulations, Senator. That is a huge endorsement. And I'm only going to echo what the president has said, because I know you and I, along with Representative Finchem, became involved 4 years ago on election fraud issues. So thank you, and thank you for staying the course. And this is very exciting that the President Trump has endorsed you.
I'm very honored. It's a huge endorsement. It's a fabulous endorsement. It's huge. I'm very honored to have the endorsement from President Trump. Very, very honored.
Well, and I wanted to read that so I didn't mispronounce a word or leave a word out, because one of the things that caught my attention when I got this was also elections are local, and people are misunderstanding, I think, a lot of times how important city and county elections are, especially if we have problems at the state or national level.
Right. A lot of people don't understand. We don't have the state election. We have 15 county elections. And we delegate the authority to the counties to run the elections. So all that, the election process is held at the county level. And that's where citizens need to get involved and, volunteer to be part of the process as a poll worker or observer or being, just part of the process. Because the elections don't belong to us elected people. They belong to the people itself. So, but yeah, it's the counties run the elections. The state legislature does it. We just lay down the rules through law, and they just have to follow the law. That's been our problem over the last two election cycles, where the process was not followed in accordance with the law. Unfortunately, when you get that type of evidence to prove it, you can't get that stuff into the courts because you've already missed certain deadlines, and then of course we haven't gotten anything into discovery process. So that's been a frustrating part what we've done here at the state legislature, especially particularly with the Senate audit we get.
Well, I'm going to ask you to come back. I know you're running for supervisor because you're termed in the Arizona Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, he served very successfully for 8 years. He's the majority leader of the Arizona Senate, but he's termed under our Constitution. And so he was asked to return to his home county, Mohave County, and run for county supervisor, which is what he's doing, and which is why he got that endorsement from President Trump. Sonny, Senator, I've known him a long time. Senator, I remember when we began the process of looking at election fraud 4 years ago, and you co-chaired and then chaired part of two different legislative hearings where evidence was presented. And I was privileged by you and by Representative Finchem to coordinate both of those. And you guys gave me tremendous latitude, and I've appreciated it. I've written you, I've publicized it, and thank you so much. The reason I'm saying that is because You have fought the good fight from day one. I know that. I've been with you at midnight, sitting in the lobby upstairs before the testimony the next morning, going over things. I've been with you on the phone and in person in many ways away from the public. And I know how you and a couple of others have really fought to bring forward the evidence and how that evidence has been muffed up or thrown aside or whatever. And I just want to thank you publicly for you have steadfast. You, for 4 years, have fought for election integrity and security. And I also know that you and I have been in several meetings where we've met with individuals to work on that process. And I just want you to know that Mohave County is very fortunate that you're leaving the Senate and you're going to go over there and represent them. So I wanted to say all that publicly. You did not expect that, and that may cost me, but that's well worth it.
Well, I thank you for that, Lyle. But, the thing is that the problem was that when we had the evidence, we turn it over. The mainstream media, especially the media in Arizona, they always twisted things around. They misdirected. They misinformation. They didn't print the truth. It was always about trying to discredit everything that we had, even when it was in black and white. So that's always been the frustrating part. I didn't get a lot. I'm not, wasn't out in front a lot, publicly. I'm the kind of guy that likes to be behind the scenes, getting things done and help coordinate these things and getting the right people to push the right things and help coordinate that. As a majority leader, as a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps, that's what you do. You try to empower your members for them to be successful, period. So that's the end of the game,
Well, I didn't plan on this part of the conversation, but I'm going to go down this since the door's open. Ladies and gentlemen, and I may get in trouble with the majority leader here, but I also know that as majority leader, I'm pausing on purpose, this gentleman right here led the fight to have Arizona do the forensic audit that was held in the Coliseum. I was just on the phone to Doug Logan, Senator, before I came into the studio, and he asked me if I could give his appreciation to you again for all that you did behind the scenes. You're right. This gentleman, and it sounds like a big, what would you call it, an attaboy show here today, but you know something, why not? You won't do it. I can, and it's my show. I know that this man, behind the scenes, away from everything, really fought the good fight. This is the gentleman right here who pushed forward when the forces, the political forces and others were absolutely in lockstep against having a forensic audit. He won't talk about it that way, but I'm free to. And I know he did. And because of this gentleman, we did have a forensic audit. And once again, it did prove a lot of things. And there's more coming out, by the way. I want you to know that Doug Logan's writing a book and it's finally coming out.
Well, the thing is, it couldn't have been done without Karen Fann. Let me tell you something. Karen Fann she's got a backbone as a ramrod.
She was president of the Senate. That's right.
Yeah, and President Karen Fann, we wouldn't have had that audit if it wasn't for her. She's so strong. She got a lot of grief from everybody, a lot of flack.
I'll bet.
We proved it. The criminal element of fraud that goes with law enforcement. But what we've proven, and Karen Fann has said so publicly numerous times, the 2020 election was an uncertifiable election. There were so many mistakes. Of course, the media says, "Oh, an anomaly. What's that?" Well, okay, if you want to call it chain of custody documentation that's not being done, not being followed, that's an anomaly. I mean, come on. When you open up the bags, the ballot bags, and they're supposed to be sealed, and they're not, and the seal is actually at the bottom of the bag, and the ballot count doesn't match the inventory sheet that's in the bag.
That's right.
These kind of things, of course, they want to say, well, it's an anomaly. That just means you don't know what you're talking about. And of course, we did have some person that was in a part of the audit, was only supposed to be a liaison between the county and the Senate. Okay. And that person did a lot of obstructing and interfering. And of course, don't get in between that person and the cameras like CNN, because he'd run you over to do that. So, we had this one individual do a lot of undermining of Karen Fann, and it's really atrocious. Unfortunately, it is what it is. And then he came to the Senate and tried to play the same kind of garbage here. And this is why I've wholeheartedly endorsed Mark Finchem to come back to the legislature, because this is a solid guy. that's going to get things done. He's not going to waver. He's not going to play footsie with the Democrats and undermine the caucus. So, I fully, wholeheartedly endorse Mark Finchem for the Arizona Senate, for Yavapai County, for that district. Because let me tell you something, he's a solid guy.
Yeah.
He got out when he moved up to Prescott a couple years ago, after he was out of office. He moved up there because he loved the lifestyle up there. And then, of course, I'm the pain in the neck. They kept hounding him. Man, you got to take this guy out of there. You got to take this guy out and step up, man, because this guy's a disaster.
I am going to ask you to come back because we're not going to have the time today to cover all the things. So I please don't be frustrated. But real quickly, as the Senate Majority Leader, what would you say are at least one or two of the high points of this past session that you were able to see? Well,
the high points were actually this last term. We took advantage of Governor Hobbs's inexperience last year when we got a budget through. Were we able to, take a lot of that money that we had to fix the roads and infrastructure that the state needed to be done? We balanced the budget. When after the 22 election and Hobbs sat in the governor's office, we handed this person a balanced budget, no debt, and money in the bank. And all we've been able to do the last two terms, or two years here, this last term, was hold the line. Let me tell you something. The Democrats wanted to spend all that rainy day funds. We just held the line and we said, no, we ain't going to do it. And this year's budget was actually one of the most conservative budgets I've ever seen because the state had to tighten their belt. There were all the state agencies took a 3.5% cut. And of course, we had to cut some money from the universities, and we actually killed ongoing spending and saved $1.7 billion and maintained the rainy day fund. And that's why, things took on such a long time to get the budget out this year because, hey, the governor wants to shut down the government. It's up to her. They wouldn't come to the table, but that's what we did. We fought for. And, so we lowered taxes. We added no debt. I mean, these are great things that Arizona should be proud of. And the Democrats, by the way, they didn't want to help at all. Hobbs had to twist their arms to get it done because the clock was running out. And, so her own caucus was undermining everything too. So that was the kind of funny part.
Now, I may not say this exactly correct, but Arizona's loss is Mojave's gain. What I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is leaving the state Senate as majority leader, which really gives him a big apparatus. I mean, from Page to Nogales. I mean, it's the state of Arizona. And he's termed, so he's going over to his home county, Mohave County, which is right next door to us in Yavapai. For those of you watching back east, Senator, I've had emails from people from back east, as I've said certain things about Yavapai County. They'll write in going, is that part of Phoenix? Is it part of this? Is it part of that? So that's why I explained some things. You're going back over to Mohave County. That's Mojave's gain and Arizona's loss, if you'll allow me. What do you see as one of the most important things that you need to take with you to Mohave County and become a supervisor?
Well, one of the great things that I keep telling everybody, I'm a force multiplier. I mean, I have relationships with our legislature right now, the current legislature and the new ones coming in or whatever. I still have that access to other legislators, particularly rural Arizona. We have good relationships with other legislators. And this is the experience that I bring to the county is, hey, look, when I got elected office, the state was upside down in debt. I mean, we had the buildings in hockey years ago, and we were able to pay that down, pay that debt, get rid of it, and balance the budget, put money in the bank. I mean, this is the kind of things. Remember back years ago, they were sweeping the highway user revenue funds, CURS, and SLIF, and a whole bunch of other things. We managed to stop all the sweeps and managed to get the state in a solid fiscal foundation, and it had great economic growth, and we lowered taxes. I mean, for gosh, we finally have a flat 2.5% income tax rate. Flat, straight across the board, no brackets. That's outstanding measure what we did. We eliminated the state property tax, so therefore that's more taxpayer dollars going back into the taxpayer pocket. Mm-hmm. So we're not raiding your pocket. These are the things we want to do. The Democrats, they want to raise taxes. They fought everything about cutting taxes. But this is what I bring to the table from Mohave County is that experience and knowing how to go through a budget and bring that experience where, hey, when I got in office, we were upside down in a debt. I'm leaving office. We have money in the bank, no debt, and a balanced budget. So these are major pluses. And of course, the relationships I have with the legislators in throughout the state. And, our congressional partners too.
Now, one of the other things that we've already talked about is how you have fought for 4 years for election integrity, security. And it's like been putting uphill, hasn't it? Many times we've submitted evidence and then they say it's not good enough or whatever. So that's another show because
so we can tell stories.
Yeah, that's the support system in the media. So the propaganda machine for the Progressive Party.
One of the things that you helped to accomplish, and I know we won't have the time today, just came in. I just received it. It's from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, ladies and gentlemen. I'm showing it to you right here. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the United States Court of Appeals, claimed that it was proper, it was constitutional, and it is legal that if you do not have residence and cannot prove residence, you cannot vote. And so
it says proof of citizenship.
Proof of citizenship.
You have to prove.
You're exactly right.
Registered in Arizona.
You're right. You're exactly right. So proof of citizenship in the state of Arizona. And you were a big help in this, fighting the good fight for 4 years. So was Representative Finchem. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is huge news. I don't think it will probably make most of the conventional platforms, but it's right here. I just got it this afternoon, and I knew the senator was coming on, and I knew he knew about this because he's been a part of this all along. So I just wanted to share that at this moment in time. In the last couple of minutes, and then I am going to ask you to come back where we'll have more time on a different show, and we'll talk about everything we've talked about, but maybe enlarge on it, tell some stories, not out of school, but behind the curtain that people haven't known about. You are leaving the Senate and the House of Representatives. That's how I met you, I don't know how many years ago now, many years ago. Yeah, it was 12, wasn't it, Sonny? And you've accomplished a lot that, again, behind the scenes you haven't talked about. What would you say, looking back over your tenure in the legislature, House and Senate, has been one of the most profound things that you think you've accomplished and to help the state of Arizona? I'm asking you to brag, Gunny.
Yeah. I always say the first cost of freedom is taking care of our veterans. So, pushing through legislation to help out our veterans. I mean, from military licensure to getting everything from funding for a veterans assisted living home that'll actually be here in Mohave County. The state was identified to have 5 of those. Mohave County is the last one to get that. So that money is in the queue. The Fed's got to put up their portion of it, and we'll get that project going. And that's going to employ at least 100 people, plus the other ancillary businesses that come across that that benefit from that type of thing.
Yeah.
Roads and bridges, infrastructure. That's a government function, and taking care of law enforcement. I mean, public safety, taking care of our veterans, and infrastructure and economic development. Under the Ducey administration, you know what? You could say what you want about Governor Ducey, but if it wasn't for Governor Ducey working with the Republican legislature, we were able to really get some good economic development into the state. It's amazing how Hobbs is taking, reaping the fruits of that labor, but she's trying to claim victory for that stuff. But that was all done prior to her even getting in office. So these are the things that the media doesn't want to give us credit for, but it's okay. I don't care who gets the credit as long as the mission gets accomplished.
My guest has been Senate Majority Leader Sonny Borrelli of the Arizona State Senate. He is now leaving the state Senate because of term limits, and he's going to his home county of Mohave County, which is right next door to Yavapai County. He's running for supervisor, and as we've already talked about, President Trump has endorsed him. So is General Flynn. I have a video that we won't be able to use today, but I want you to know that General Mike Flynn, verbally, I have the video, and Senator, you know this, endorsed Sonny Borrelli for county supervisor in Mohave County. These are two huge endorsements, and they're well deserved. So, Senator, thank you for taking time out. You're still campaigning. It goes until July 30th.
Right.
And
Still
thanks-
campaigning. I have a good campaign going. It's going solid. It's going really smooth. It's really strong. I'm going up against a guy who's been there for 28 years. So July 30th on the primary night, we're going to be doing a watch party, obviously, for the results to come in. I want to celebrate. Either way, I win. It's going to be a retirement party. Okay. It's either I'm retiring or my opponent's retiring. If I get elected, I have a job. That's a win. If I don't get elected, that's a win. I get to go back to being retired, and I can take on other projects. And one of my pet peeve projects I'm doing coming this November.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Good one for you. You haven't even heard about this. This November, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, here in Lake Havasu, I am going to be promoting and help produce the Military World Finals Rodeo sanctioned by the Military Rodeo Cowboys Association. That's going to be a fun event, and I'm really excited to be part of that thing and leading that charge, because it goes back to my old roots of when I was a rodeo cowboy too. So it'd be a good time. So make sure you come out.
Gunny Borrelli, Marine Borrelli. We'll have you back on to talk about the rodeo. So we'll do that. Well, Senator, thank you so much. My guest has been Senate Majority Leader Sonny Borrelli, who's now running for supervisor in Mohave County. And I just thank the senator for all that he has done for these years. And he doesn't talk about a lot of this stuff. He really hasn't. And that's why I pulled out a couple of things today. And maybe in the future, well, it's true. At midnight, sitting in a lobby upstairs before the next day's legislative hearing, trying to figure out how do we deal with tomato, and things like that. And so thank you, Senator, very much. My name is Lyle Rapacki. I've been your host, and I just really thank you for joining Senator Borrelli and me on Yavapai Speaks.
Thank you, Gunny. You're a vet.
Okay.